clever plan. If the fleet reached him first, they'd string him up for that. Never mind the winged horse. Or so Lupino had told him over the far speaker anyway. Yeah! Lupino had apparently managed to confuse the judge by arguing that he hadn't actually stolen the winged horse. He'd only sold it. But, wait, where was the prison? The village was empty. Had everybody fled the ravens? People were frightened these days. Just 2 weeks past, Reynardo had sneaked through an empty town and listened to the ravens caw about the Emperor's new taste in ritual sacrifice. Hero wall, hero sword, fire wall, fire extinguisher. Ravens were landing everywhere. The advance guard. He'd better get moving. If they got to Lupino first, they'd eat him for breakfast. Or a snack. Ravens weren't picky. If they got hungry, they sometimes forgot to interrogate their prisoners. Even top spies like Lupino. Well, unless he really was a traitor. Obviously. Then they'd probably pin a medal on his chest. Lupino would betray him. But now Reynardo knew that. What would Lupino do if he knew that Lupino was going to betray him? Well, he'd concoct a crazy scheme, wouldn't he? Use Lupino's betrayal against him and it would blow up in his face. Maybe he was overthinking this. Well, that would be a first. Dirty and bloody, Reynardo finally reached Lupino. The rabbit was practicing his shuffle. Reynardo recognized the cards. It was Lupino's favorite deck. Oh, I thought you were in danger. I am. The ravens are coming. Oh, the prison thing. Right, yeah, see, this guard owed me 53 ducats, so we made a deal. They're very reasonable people. We capture Zenobia, we find out what she knows, and that's the whole war right there. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Capture the Emperor's greatest general, who happened to also be a deadly sorcerer, and, oh, his only daughter? That would be worth it. And it would be nice to see her. He'd always had a soft spot for her. And he felt sure she had one for him. On the other hand, he could still get to the core of the Sky Ripper, even if he couldn't get the whole thing. It must have great power. To make the Sky Ripper, the transcendent Emperor. It's beautiful here, thought Reynardo. It was nice to be back with his old war buddy. All right, Lupino was a traitor. But still, it was good company. There was something sour in the air. Like the earth had ruptured over something that had been fermenting for a very long time. Reynardo felt wrong all over. He could feel an almost palpable sickness in the air. And if the land could have tumors, they would look like these monstrous crystals. The forest was quiet. There were insects, a few birds. He didn't count the ravens. Reynardo smelled sick animals, dying ones. No help. I'm getting a bad feeling about this. Reynardo thought. Maybe Lupino was right. Maybe they should have kidnapped Zenobia instead of coming here. As he held the radiant icosahedron, Reynardo felt queasy, like dozens of tiny worms were nibbling his insides. It wasn't healthy to be so close to the... Tell you what, said Lupino. I'll take it to the observatory. You attack the Imperial outpost. The Imperial outpost was a vital communications node. Taking it could shatter the Empire's ability to coordinate. And it would be full of secret plans and maps and maybe even rebel prisoners. It was a good target for a hero like Reynardo. But what if Lupino lost the core to the Empire? That could be a good thing, couldn't it? Was Reynardo ready to take that risk? Maybe it was better if he brought the core to the scientists himself. Trust me, Reynardo, you won't regret this. As Lupino vanished into the wilds of the Nexus, Reynardo vaguely remembered Lupino had a baby daughter, didn't he? And he told her mother he was going out to get some Easter eggs, and he'd never come back. But Reynardo was relieved not to carry the core anymore. He was already feeling better. And who knows, maybe this time Lupino would get it right. And if Reynardo could take the outpost, he'd have access to all the Empire's communications in the sector, right? Reynardo caught his breath. His joints still hurt, but he couldn't feel the poison in his system anymore. He'd let the armature slip out of his hands to save his friend Lupino. Of course he had to let Lupino take the core. The rebellion needed every man doing his duty. And the rabbit would be no good taking on an Imperial outpost, right? Reynardo took the outpost with a song in his heart. Soon, he was stuffing his sack with key messages from and to the fleet. Then the observatory had been sacked by ravens. Lupino and all the scientists had been taken to the mountains. Why? Why had he trusted Lupino again? And now the Empire had the core. Reynardo hailed the rebel base to warn them. But their far speaker didn't croak back. Was the base under attack too? Lapino would have to wait. There were Imperials everywhere in the ruins, and dead civilians. The Ravens were killing everything in sight. Reynardo was relieved to see no rebels among the dead. Maybe the secret base was still secret, but there were huge burn marks in buildings. What monstrous weapons was the Empire using here? The core had great power. Had they harnessed it somehow, even though they didn't have the armature? Thought about the intel he'd gathered from the outpost. Who would he bring it to? Who even had time to read it? He could smell charred flesh and hear screams. The ruins were on fire. But the Ravens had rigged up the core as some kind of burning ray. They wouldn't need to know the secret location. They were burning everything. It was killing them too. Their black feathers littered the path. He would have to take the core from them. It was the last thing he wanted to do. I should go, he thought. The rebel base seemed quiet. That was good. Also, it seemed to be burning. Like bombs. As the last Raven fell, Reynardo felt worse than he ever had. The core was killing him, again. The council members cautiously came out into the smoke. "You saved us," croaked the speaker. They would put the weaponized core deep in a cavern, she promised, where its poison could harm no one. They would heal him if they could, she said. No, it's a weapon now. We need one. I'll lead the charge. "It will kill you," croaked the speaker. "I guess it already has," Reynardo said. She bobbed her head gravely. "When all this is over," she said, "we'll name our new capital city for you." He flew towards the Imperial fleet, a myriad ships in disciplined formation, waiting for the signal to destroy the rebellion forever. Behind him, the rebels were charging. If he failed, they would die. And so the final battle began. Everything hurt. It was unpleasant to fight this way. With each blow he struck with his sword, he felt weaker. Yet each time the core fired, it got brighter. as if the heat from the burning ravens and buildings only fed its hunger. He wondered where Lupino was. Wasn't he supposed to be in the battle? No. He'd been captured, hadn't he? Oh, Reynardo's mind was smoky now, like the burning fleet. He hoped this wouldn't take long. Reynardopolis. Vulpus Major? Lando Nardo. Don't you mean a capital city? Well, just wished he had a better name. Where was Lupino? He missed Lupino's bitter outbursts. Or did he? Gotten into this mess, hadn't he? Oh, it's a wonderful weapon, setting fire across the fleet. Ravens exploded in its gaze, and with every heartbeat it grew brighter. But he would die every inch a hero. Spectacularly, changing history like the legendary heroes of lore. Or was it yore? No, he couldn't remember anymore. Reynardo fell to his knees. The Emperor's bodyguards were lined up before his ship. Fierce ravens, all. And Zenobia. She was conjuring. He could not take another step. All he could do was fire the core. The ravens, Zenobia, the ship, all burst into flames, disintegrated, and blew away. So they had one, after all. The core grew brighter. He shielded his eyes, but he could still see it through his sleeves and through the flesh of his arm. And then he felt heat, as the fire grew to consume both fleets. And then he felt nothing. Oh, again? But he already had all the secrets he needed. He was sure of that. He must have not used them the right way. What was the best, worst mistake he could make? Probably trusting that traitor Lupino.